Now, I just made my iPhone 15 video, and again, I disliked that product so much that it didn't even cross my mind until few moments prior to actually recording the video that maybe I should do some type of follow up with that particular device. But another device that I did do an unboxing, which didn't get many views, and the thumbnail wasn't that great, and I'm sure I could have put more effort in it, but my unboxing of my Pixel 7 got a decent amount of views. The unboxing of the Pixel 8 did not. I probably need to change the thumbnail. Probably could still change the thumbnail and maybe get more views. But yeah, I have had this Pixel 8 now for months. I don't know. I think I got it a little bit before I got that iPhone 15. And overall, for the amount that I've used it, it's been a good device. I don't have any real issues. Yeah, it's only been my primary device for a couple of days out of those, but I've used it for other things. And battery life has been fine. Of course, it's a pixel camera, so that's going to be fine. The one big thing that I pointed out, and I think it was my only real complaint with the Pixel 7, is that when I was watching video, of course, watching it in landscape like this, the audio sounded imbalanced. But when I turned it up for portrait, it sounded balanced. It was almost like whatever type of tuning they did. And again, I mean, you have two speakers, but one is facing you and one isn't. It seemed like somehow the tuning was for that portrait style video, the way that a lot of people are consuming video now, instead of widescreen stuff. With this, I'm not noticing that problem. So I'm definitely enjoying watching YouTube videos on the Pixel 8. Another difference is the screen is a little smaller. So we went from 6.3 inches down to 6.2, and it is noticeable. That tenth of an inch diagonally is noticeable. Also, I think the sides are a little more square. I mean, they're still rounded, but I think the sides are a little more square, and just the way that it feels in the hand is a lot better. And the main reason that I started using this device most recently is that whole Beeper Mini thing. And if you're not aware, Beeper Mini is an app that allows you to use iMessage on an Android device. And, there were some issues with that. And I'll make another video about that later. But overall, and man, this is a really short video. The biggest things about the Pixel now are longevity of software support. So originally, I think 3 years of security updates and 3 years of operating system upgrades and 5 years of security patches and stuff. But Google said, hey, we're going to really up the ante, and started with the Pixel 8 series. We're going to give you 7 years of both of those. And I've made my videos with those thoughts and opinions about, is 7 years really something that's going to be meaningful? Is the phone still going to be usable in 7 years? I recently gave my Pixel 2 to a friend's child, which the child isn't even using now because they ended up using an iPhone. So now inadvertently converted an Android user to an iPhone user because I'd sent her 2 phones. But it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, in 7 years, is this phone even going to be usable? Regardless of what support Google has actually presented from a hardware standpoint, is the phone going to be usable? Are there going to be glitches? I just read something, I think, from either Android Authority or one of the other major publications when it comes to cell phones, that they have a Pixel 6, and they're like 2 years later, this phone is almost unusable. And it's not uncommon for Google devices to just stop working as intended not too long after they've been released. So today, in 2024, I have absolutely no problem recommending a Pixel 8. I don't have a Pixel 8 Pro, so I can't speak to it. I will say that there definitely are some differences from a hardware level, mainly the camera's bigger screen. But there are some other differences that shouldn't be differences, and that's because Google has chosen to segment features based off of nomenclature. And yes, I get it's a pro device. And even though I don't like it, I understand some of the differences between the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro. The chip in the iPhone 15 is not the same chip as what's in the iPhone 15 Pro. That's just a fact. The Google Tensor G3 and the Pixel 8 is the exact same chip. That's in the Pixel 8 Pro. So if you're telling me that this Pixel 8 Pro can do something that this Pixel 8 can, you're full of shit. And that's it. I get you get an additional camera on the back, and yeah, if it's a physical limitation, like an additional camera, I get it. But some of the other things, I'm like, there shouldn't be this difference. And if you're openly saying, because Mr. Who's the Boss and a bunch of other people have shown that you need, if you're telling me that when using those features on the Pixel 8 Pro, I need to be connected to the internet, that's because that processing is being done in a data center somewhere else. I should be able to do this exact same thing on a Pixel 2 because I take the picture or record the video and it gets uploaded to your servers, Google, and then you allow me to download it back to my device or whatever. Like, it shouldn't matter what device that I have. If it's in the Pixel camera, all right, cool, limit it to pixels. If it's something that you can do in Google Photos, then at that point, that's app based. And any phone or any device that's running Google Photos should now have access to that feature. Now, for those things like Video Boost is the main thing that I'm talking about. Is that something that's going to come out to other devices later? Possibly. Because there's absolutely no reason that it's limited only to this one device, the Pixel 8 Pro, when there are no hardware differences that would prevent it from being available to other devices. So yeah, like I said, Pixel 8, good phone from what I've used it for. Battery life is fine. I'm enjoying the size of the screen. New brightnesses and things like that. They call it something different now. I forget the name of what they call it. Cameras are good as expected. Performance is fine. Call screening and some other stuff. Those features that you get when you get a Pixel. Of course, USB-C. It's been like that since the first Pixel, I believe. Unlike the iPhone over there. And I'll say the only disappointment that I'm experiencing is I wish Google did not decide to charge an additional $100 for the Pixel 8 compared to the Pixel 7. So I believe this started at $700, while the Pixel 7 started at $600. But the saving grace, which again, if it were $100 and the trade-in deals were still the same, then it just would have been $100 cheaper. Google does some really good trade-in promotions. So I traded in my Pixel 7 for this 8 when I pre-ordered it, and I think out of pocket I paid like $2 something for the phone. So even if I were paying, but last year I paid $1 something for the phone. But if I were paying $2 something every year for a new phone, trading in the old one, I also got the Google Pixel Buds Pro, which are still in the case upstairs somewhere, and a 30 day, was it a year? No, I think it's just 30 days of Microsoft X Pass or Game Pass, whatever it's called. I haven't activated that. I don't know if it expires. But with Best Buy, the trade-ins have been pretty good. 9 minutes in, the last thing I'll just say about Best Buy, because I know I'm all over the place, is I did read an article in the past couple of weeks talking about at one point in time in the future, possibly different Best Buys will have different phone options from a carrier level. Like, oh, this Best Buy is a Verizon Best Buy. This Best Buy is an AT&T Best Buy. So the phone that you get will be dependent on which Best Buy you go to. Is that actually going to happen and like be a national thing? I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, the companies must have paid Best Buy like, oh, well, we'll give you money. And from a business standpoint, again, just business is business. If both companies are paying them money, then it doesn't matter for them if here the closest Best Buy to me is a Verizon one, but the next closest one is an AT&T one. Because right now, Best Buy is not getting any money for this particular program. But if they decide to accept the money, then now they're getting the money. And yeah, for them, nothing's changed. Me, the consumer, I need to know which Best Buy I'm going to if I And I'm a T-Mobile customer, so I need to find an unlocked phone, and I don't know how that's going to affect things. I think I might have even, might make a video, or maybe I did. I just haven't uploaded it yet. Right after I read the article, but yeah, that'll be another issue to worry about in the future, and not to talk about the iPhone again, because I always find a way to do it. But things like what I just described with Best Buy and the iPhone being able to remove the SIM card, things like that happen when there's no competition. And you're like, well, what do you mean competition? At the carrier level, there's no real competition. We have three choices. And if Apple is able to say, hey, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon, this is what we're going to do, they'll be like, okay. I know you have Metro and a bunch of other ones that are smaller, but they're three companies, all right? And Apple is able to dictate what it's going to do, and it does. And I'm sure the carriers have some power for some stuff, and it's just from a carrier standpoint, I don't see how removing the SIM card helped them. I mean, I guess cost savings, not having to produce as many physical SIM cards, pay for them however much they cost, whatever. From a lock-in standpoint, also could potentially benefit them. Like um, I had a US iPhone 15 for a brief moment. And yeah, I know I could go into the settings and it says whether or not it's SIM locked or whatever. I don't know if it says specifically which network it's locked to, but I think it would either say no restriction or, locked or whatever. But the issue is like, well, if it just says that it's locked and it doesn't tell you what network it's locked to, how do you know what network it's locked to? I mean, I'm sure the information is there to be able to easily determine in terms of whether or not just going to Google, figure it out, calling a carrier. But with a phone that has a SIM card slot, and just plug a SIM card in. Now, there was a time, and in fact, I still have them. They're just up in storage now. I have SIM cards from all of the major carriers, and whether they're from lines that I previously had or old SIM cards that people no longer use, it's like, hey, I need these. That way, when I'm with my phones, I can test whether or not something is truly unlocked or if it's locked to a particular network. So I'm completely off script here, and off topic of originally the Pixel 8 being a good purchase. But it sucks when there's no competition. And in the realm of iPhone and Galaxy devices, the Pixel 8 is a nice alternative.